Good afternoon, everyone. You are in HF3, so financial barriers, rent subsidies, and landlords and housing first. So the first presentation is going to describe a debit card initiative and volunteer trusteeship innovation that promotes financial inclusion and autonomy for people experiencing homelessness. The second presentation is going to focus on the implementation of a needs-based portable subsidy program to address youth homelessness, while the third focuses on a landlord engagement model that is central to advancing the affordable and equitable housing for Black youth. My name is Kelly Gauze. I'm the Manager of Homelessness and Housing Support for the City of Windsor, and I am your moderator today. Each presentation is going to be about 20 minutes, and then we're going to leave enough time for Q&A at the end. And we would just like to begin by acknowledging that the 2025 National Conference on Ending Homelessness is taking place on unceded Indigenous lands. The Gahago Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters on which we gather today. Jungage, Montreal, is historically known as the gathering place for many First Nations. Today, it is home to a diverse population of Indigenous and other peoples. We respect the connections with past, present, and future in our ongoing relationships with Indigenous and other peoples from coast to coast to coast. Today's presentation will be interpreted, so for those of you who do need a simultaneous interpretation, you can obtain one of those handsets in either level 2 or level 5 foyer if you're required. With that, we are going to start with the first presentation, Culturally Affirming Landlord Engagement, a Housing First Approach to Black Youth Housing. And we have Ben, Laura, and Janine from the Restoration, Empowerment, and Social Transition.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here today. My name is Lara Detukasi, Program Director at Rest Centers, and I'm here with my colleagues, Ben and Janine. And we also have Dagmar, our ED, seated in the audience. Okay, today we're going to be talking about our Culturally Affirming Landlord Engagement program. We are a Black-led organization that serve Black youths in the Peel region using the Housing First approach. Our objectives for this presentation is to help you to understand the context of our culturally affirming landlord engagement. We want to share a framework with you as well as the impact that our program has had in terms of the partnerships that we have had with landlords across the Peel region. We also want to talk about the Housing First approach that we use in terms of the landlord engagement and the holistic case management and wraparound support we provide for the youths that we serve. At the end of the day, we want to provide strategies for any organization that is looking to implement the same model. Rest was established 10 years ago. We celebrated our 10th year anniversary this year by Dagmar Koyi, and we are focused on reducing and preventing homelessness amongst BIPOC youth in the Peel region. We currently work in Brampton and Mississauga. We have 4 key pillars where we work: shelter, living, healing, and growing. But this presentation is focused on our flagship program, which is the Bridge of Hope program. And just as it is, the Bridge of Hope is the program where we bridge the gap between the youth who are the tenants and the landlord who provide the housing solutions for the youth. Talking about the impact of the Bridge of Hope program, the program has grown tremendously over the last 3 years, from 2022 to 2024. First of all, we have seen a tremendous increase in the referrals that we have. Initially, we had majority of our referral coming from the welfare system, where they refer youths transitioning out of welfare to us. But now we're also seeing a lot of self-referrals from youths, from Black youths who are told about the program by their peers. And this demonstrates the fact that Black youths actually do need culturally affirming program, and they actually seek it out and come to us. We've also seen an increase in our enrollments, though not as tremendous as the increase that we've seen in referrals, and that is basically because of resource constraint. We do not have timelines for which we serve the youth. They stay with us for as long as they need our support, so we roll in clients year in, year out, and are only able to take a certain amount of youth. However, we have seen an increase in this. And then we've also seen a sustained increase in our active clients, just showing that the program works and the clients stay with us year in, year out, mainly because there is a sustainable housing solution that they receive from the program. So we didn't just decide to work with Black youths. What we do is actually ingrained in research and in data. We all know that Blacks are overly represented in the homeless sector. For Peel region, where we serve, 58%, according to the Peel PIT count, 58% of the people who are homeless currently in the Peel region are Black, and 17% of these are youths within the ages of 15 to 24%. Amongst the youths, 33% of them are people that have aged out of the child welfare system. Despite this number, there is a major gap in the services or in the funds that are available to support this youth. If you look at the Ontario Works, which gives rent allowance to these youth, you find out that the amount of funds that is available for the youth compared to the cost of the housing is disproportionate. A youth will receive about $390 rent allowance from Ontario Works. However, in the Peel region, rent for a room apartment is about $2,000. So there is such a wide gap between that. And what this gap does is that it creates a barrier for the youths to actually get a place to rent. And then it also increases the cost of the rent and leaves these youths vulnerable and at risk of chronic homelessness. There are also several barriers that have been seen in the rental market. According to Hackworth et al., there are various systemic discrimination that works against the Black youths. First of all, from initial inquiry, a lot of things that are asked for from the youths do not exist. There's racial bias and differential treatment that begins right from the first contact that a Black youth makes with a landlord to get accommodation. Also, during the viewing process, there are a lot of income requirements that the Black youths do not have. We have a lot of people that come to us that do not have, they have subsidies, but they don't have they don't have employment letter, they don't have things that landlord requires now. Some landlord will ask you for 6 months pay slips and things that are so difficult for the youths to provide. Also at the application stage where they do the credit check or the rental history, there's also a gap for the youths that we serve. And then in the final approval state, we also see that a lot of qualified youth are actually rejected just due to implicit barrier. And these barriers are not accidental. They're actually systemic barriers that exist and have been intentionally created to prevent the youth from getting housed. And then why are we doing landlord engagement? One of the things that we have seen from data is that there is about an 11.8 points gap in the youths or in the Black applicants that gets a response when compared to the white applicants. So a research that was done also by Hackworth shows that 72.5% of white applicants will get a response rate when compared to the Black applicants, where you see 60.7% getting, responses from the landlord. And this represents thousands of people who are denied accommodation. And that is where REST comes in. One of the things that we do is to build access for the youth. Our reputation actually opens doors for the youth. So you hear youth saying that I wouldn't have gotten a place to stay without the support of the youth. And we do have youths that actually have the resources, but they are not able to go through the systemic barriers to actually get a place to stay. And also, REST also comes in terms of establishing trust between the landlord and between us as an organization. And at the end of the day, we also ensure stability for the youth and ensure that they always have a place to stay. Our program is actually we actually use the housing first approach, the housing first for youth approach. That is what we use, but we really embed it in cultural safety. Our model actually focuses a lot on that because we work with Number one, because of the risk that we work with, also because of the trauma that they have experienced over time. So we do a lot of anti-racism training for all our partners. We ensure that all the programs that we do are culturally upholding and that there is also a lot of peer support built into all that we do. We also do trauma-informed training for our staff as well as for the partners and the people that we work with, ensuring that everyone that works with these youth understands racial trauma and are able to intervene in the life of the youth from this lens. And then also we come from a strengths-based approach when working with the youth. Integrating cultural safety in housing first makes it possible for the young people that we work with to develop respect, connection, and real support that values their whole identity and experience. Okay, right now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, that's our landlord engagement person, who is going to come and talk about the framework that we use.
Thank you, Lara. So my name is Janine Bartholomew, and I'm the landlord engagement coordinator for rest centers. So according to the landlord framework that we use, it's simple. It's rest, the landlord, which is the property owner, and the tenant. Our youths are age 16 to 24. We go by a culturally affirming and a responsive collaboration, and within this framework, it creates accountability and reduces any risk and ensures that we're doing a culturally safe and trauma-informed care. We incorporate the leasehold model. Under this model, we have a lease agreement with the property owner between REST and the property owner. So we are the primary leaseholders, and the youth would be the sublease. We'll sublease to the youth. The youth are then paying the rent based on they contribute according to their share based on their income and their financial capacity. REST pays the remaining balance. So this is combined, this money is combined, and REST pays the land directly to the landlord. Using this model, the landlord benefits by having free property management and eviction prevention. During this time, of course, the youth would also be benefiting because they're benefiting from the whole wraparound, the holistic wraparound service that REST provides. They have intensive case management because each youth that comes through to REST has their own individual case manager. They have access to mental health supports, life skills, financial literacy training, and everything that's involved that any other youth that would be in a regular household would have available to them. So this framework benefits both the landlords and the youth. The landlords, by partnering with REST, they are guaranteed to have their rent paid every month. They're also guaranteed to have their house filled. If it's not filled, REST still covers the rent, so they're always paid. The property is always maintained. Unlike should they go to the usual route, they have the stresses of whether their rent is going to be paid. Nowadays, a lot of property owners they're not actually getting the rent because people stop paying the rent. They don't have that issue with rest centers. The youth benefit as well because they're gaining stability and independence and a feeling of belonging. Their personal empowerment, they get being educated, they learn life skills, tenant training, and they have access to culturally affirming care and support, which is rooted in the Black youth identity. So the impact of this whole framework from 2020 to 2024, REST annual food program funding rose from $16,000 in 2020 to $103,000 in 2024. So this ensured that the youths were provided access to food, to nutritious meals, to any of the youths that were facing food insecurity. They had expanded housing stability. Rent subsidy support increased. It increased from $3,000 in 2020 to 272,000 in 2024, which allowed for more homeless and at-risk youth to secure safe and stable housing. As per our satisfaction survey in 2024, the average satisfaction rate across all the programs was 85%. The percentage of clients who are who feel rest has improved their standard of living and their transition to independence rose to 88%. So the last year, the amount of landlords that were engaged with rest was 16. We had 16 landlords engaged. We maintained the 100% retention of the landlords. So not one single landlord left the program, because they all actually found the benefits of the program and wanted to stay within this program. The youth housing satisfaction was 96%. Some of the landlords, as per one of our landlords, actually, sent in a testimony and spoke about the impact of being a landlord to one of rest youth. And her tenant, as she described, that was once at risk of homelessness, is now successful and enrolled in school and pursuing a Police Foundation's course. So her experience illustrates how culturally affirming landlord engagement benefits both the youth and the property owners. This youth actually even started going to church with this landlord. They built such a very good relationship. Not every landlord actually has to be involved with the youth, but this particular landlord and this youth built a relationship. And that is something that, through being culturally responsive as well, makes it very beneficial for the program. One of our clients as well, one of the youth, another youth, she mentioned that despite working full-time, her credit history and age made landlords hesitant to rent to her. So we're in Ontario. She had an R9 rating. I don't know if you're aware what an R9 rating would entail, because it means that, that something was written off. So it's at the bottom. It takes 7 years minimum to be able to improve that rating. She was able to actually access, and she joined rest centers to transition, to actually get her first home in 1 year. Well, actually, I had to find her housing in 6 days. I had 6 days, and I found her a nice one-bedroom apartment with a community landlord. After that, 1 year later, she transitioned into a long-term apartment, a brand new building. She was the first person to actually be in that apartment. So, and she doesn't have to worry, it's property managed, doesn't have to worry about if somebody's gonna tell her she has to move or where she's gonna sleep or anything like that. And she described that as life-changing and said it was a turning point towards stability and independence for her. She says, rest saw her potential and not her background. She said, and today I'm living my dream. She found stable and satisfactory housing where she could build her future. She's also going back to school. I'm going to pass this back on to Lara.
All right, thank you so much, Jenny.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a lot of core principles that guides it. It's not just working with the landlord. We have principles that actually guide us, professionalism and respect. We ensure that that is upheld. We actually use the landlord-tenant rights. We train our landlords, and we train our tenants as well. The landlords to know their rights and their responsibilities, same thing with the youth, and we ensure that there is professionalism and respect in all the dealings that we do. There's also collaborative communication. Janine can tell you how many times a landlord, contacts her. Just as we said, we are the bridge between the tenant and the landlord. So the landlord will come to us if there is a complaint. The tenants will come to us if there is a complaint. And we make sure that we keep it clear, there's transparency, and there's an open communication line between everyone. I've talked about the landlord empowerment that we do. We also, we do trainings. We provide materials for them. We do trainings for them. We also do network meetings where they come, for meetings. At times we provide meals and we talk over meals and talk about the impact of the work that we do. We do tenant empowerment. We have the tenant education a culturally affirming tenant education curriculum that was designed specifically for the youths that we serve, and they go through that. And then from time to time, we also have house meetings where we resolve issues that can happen. We do home economics training, teach them how to clean, teach them how to cook. It's a very holistic approach with intertwined principles. In terms of an overview of our toolkit and how we operate, there's targeted outreach. Like Janine mentioned, we work with small community landlords within the community. We work with community groups. We work with faith groups. And our goal is to look for people that are interested, not just interested in renting out their property. Of course, they want to rent their property and get funds, but they're also interested in doing social good and making a change in the community. And then we do a fair screening. We do a lot of advocacy. We do a fair screening to ensure that they understand the trauma that the youths have gone through and are able to work with them from a trauma-informed lens. We also do a comprehensive training for them. And then we provide professional support for the landlord, as well as education and engagement. For the landlords as well, we also have legal guidance. We as an organization have legal guidance. So when there are issues, we speak to our legal guides. They also have time to consult with us. And there is also timely and open communication. As I said before, for the tenants, we do a lot of education. And at the end of that, we have prepared landlords and prepared tenants, and then we create that environment that helps them to work together. Of course, there are challenges, but that's where our support comes in from time to time to put out any fires or any crises that may arise. I know that we've been talking about working with landlords, but this year we got our first house. So from just renting from, you can clap. So we got our first house in 2025. We're going to be launching that in 2026, and the journey of rest being the landlord will begin, and we'll probably come back to tell you how that goes. But for that, we're going to be getting names. We're going to be getting clients from the by name list. They'll do the prioritization. We'll get clients from the by name list who are going to be providing subsidized housing. They'll be enrolled in our program as well and receive the same support that we provide to the tenants that we connect with other landlords. We've been doing this for a long time. If you want to partner with us or if you want to learn more about what we do, there's more information on our website, but we're also available to provide trainings or provide guidance and talk more about our framework. We also have a Black Youth Housing and Equity Summit coming up in November. The details are available at blackyouthhousing.equity.ca, or you can just go to the REST website and you'll find a link to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura and Janine. Okay. Next up, we have Carly from Our Place Peel and Grace, who is a program supervisor with the Region of Peel, and they're going to talk about building bridges, collaborative strategies for affordable housing solutions. Maybe if I can, where's the? Thank God for IT. Thanks. Okay. Are you ready? Yes. We're ready. Thank you. With it on you.
And here I thought I wouldn't have to present. Oh, wow. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Grace Giles. I'm a supervisor for Peel Region in the Housing Services Division. Carly and I are here to present to you today, and the Needs-Based Portable Subsidy Program. So today we'll talk to you, sorry, I need my glasses. Some of the learning objectives will be, we'll learn about how to develop and implement the needs-based portable subsidy, understand the effective multi-sector collaboration, value of voices in collaboration, the challenges that we, and solution, and then Carly will present in some more collaboration, some challenges, and share a youth success story with you. The Needs-Based Portable Subsidy Program was developed with a housing first principle in mind, where we decided to serve our clients with the highest needs first, rather than based on the chronological order and the centralized waitlist are program-based. Most service managers offer subsidized housing to homeless clients on the centralized waitlist, but with over 32,000 homeless households on the waitlist, and on an average, it will take approximately 12 years or more for someone to be offered a unit. With the needs-based portable subsidy, we're delivering supports using housing first principles, supports that's right size, supports that's client focused, and providing supports that help clients get and keep housing. One of the great things about the subsidy is the flexibility it allows our clients to have. Clients are able to secure housing in the private rental markets anywhere in PL region, Brampton, Caledon, or Mississauga. In signing to accept the subsidy, clients agree to withdraw from the waitlist. There's no end date for the subsidy as long as clients continue to meet the eligibility components. We streamlined the needs-based portable subsidy in 3 main streams. The homelessness streams is based on the existing coordinated access by name list process, and the prevention stream is based on the core housing needs. The legacy stream is based on our housing allowance that were converted to needs-based portable subsidy. Legacy was developed as a way for us to track the number of allowances being converted, but eventually it will become a part of the prevention stream, and then we'll only have 2 streams: homelessness and needs-based and prevention. Who were involved? Of course, we have to go to council to get approval to determine the number of regional dollars available for the subsidy and the length of time we could sustain the subsidy, which is indefinite at this time. The senior leadership team determined how to allocate the funds and the policy and the processes that would be involved. And of course, we work in collaboration with our frontline staff and our external partners to make this happen. Of course, you can just imagine it takes a lot of collaboration to make this program a success. External partners working in collaboration with our frontline staff, we work with their intensive housing case managers, which is Our Place Peel, CMHA, Salvation Army, John Howard Society, and SHIP, to ensure clients with the highest needs are on the by name list, so that they could be eligible to be pre-screened for the subsidy. These staff help clients to get the proper documentation to be approved for the subsidy, and then assist the clients with finding housing, as well as viewing units, accompanying the clients to view the units, and also to refer to other resources in the community. We also have bi-weekly case conferences where with each agency, the housing support worker and the housing representative and the supervisors, to review the client's progress, their challenges to obtaining documents or securing housing, and we share knowledge as well as brainstorm how to support a client when they face many challenges. We also had our working group that was involved. The process of the needs-based portable subsidy involved many internal and external stakeholders. It consists of a working group. Sorry, I keep forgetting to. Oh, were you doing it? It's not working. It's working now. Sorry, guys, sorry. It consists of a working group of housing supervisors, regional staff, which is the housing representative, the housing support worker, the program analyst, and the supervisors, and external partners, again, CMHA, OPP, Salvation Army, John Howard, and SHIP. We also use our staff as change agents. So in order to get buy-in, we use them to help create the individual processes within each stages of the program. And then, of course, with the stage of eligibility, approval, and providing documentation and issuing of the funds for the needs base. Sorry. Let me go over one. As you can see from the chart, these are portable subsidy amounts, and the maximum amount a client could receive based on a bedroom size and the current actual market rent for those bedroom sizes within Peel Region. These amounts are updated yearly based on the CMHAC rates. The subsidy helps to make private market rental affordable, as our subsidy amount will cover up to 150% of the actual market rent for that bedroom size. As you can see from the table, the amount will max out at 3 bedrooms. Subsidy will cover the difference between the client's income and up to 150% according to the bedroom size that they're eligible to receive based on their family composition. Now we'll share some of the outcomes. Since the implementation of the program on August 8, 2003, we have helped 700 clients to get and keep housing. 40 of those clients are youths. Based on our service level target, we have enough subsidies to help an additional 260 clients. All of our staff and external partners are working very hard to support the remaining clients through each stage of the process. One of the great things about the Needs-Based Program Subsidy is that we get to see in real time this subsidy as it improves the lives of our clients. Now, Carly will speak to you about the collaboration and some of the challenges that we go through with the program. Carly?
Thank you, Grace. So as Grace shared, the Needs-Based Portable Subsidies financial support is provided through the Region of Peel. And then we, our Place Peel, are the service provider that provides the intensive case management support for our clients who get financial assistance through the Needs-Based Portable Subsidy. So each youth is matched with one ICM who supports up to 15 clients at a time. So the program starts with a 6-month period, but can be extended up to 18 months depending on the youth's goals. So the case managers work collaboratively with youth to create individualized plans that promote stability, independence, to help overall improve their quality of life. The supports provided includes weekly meetings, ongoing phone and email check-ins, and monthly visits to the youth housing units. The ICMs also serve as the main contact for landlords. They provide education, mediation, and problem-solving skills to help sustain tendencies. So we work closely with the Region of Peel to manage the housing allowance and portable subsidies. We partner with the housing support workers who help source housing units for our clients. They are also able to provide first and last month's rent, which is really beneficial. And then we also collaborate with other community service providers to provide wraparound supports. We also participate in case conferences with the Region of Peel and provide regular updates. So this includes biweekly progress reports and monthly stats to track the outcome and maintain accountabilities. So obviously, we have subsidy that is provided to our youth, but there are various challenges that we do need to overcome through this program. So one of the biggest challenges is keeping youth engaged. Once the youth move into their own housing unit, they have their own space, they feel a lot more independent and don't always want to stay involved in the program. To address this, our staff use a client-centered approach. We tailor our supports to each person's unique needs and stay flexible. We've learned that a rigid process can get in the way of real progress, so being adaptable helps us get better outcomes. Another barrier is completing all the required paperwork within 30 days. So once a youth gets selected for the Needs-Based Portable Subsidy, they have approximately 30 days to obtain all of their paperwork. So this is IDs, proof of income, or a notice of assessment. To support this, our team starts to get connected with the, sorry, one second. It's okay. Okay. Yeah, to help support this, our shelter staff really support our clients obtain these documentations right from the get-go. So this is getting youth connected to ID clinics or helping youth get their taxes completed. That way, once the clients are selected for the Needs-Based Portable Subsidy, we are able to provide the required documentation and get it in right away. We also face challenges renting to clients, specifically youth. So as we know, when you rent to clients on subsidies or on social assistance, it is quite hard. It is even harder to rent to young people, especially those under the age of 18. To address this, our team is always providing advocacy and relationship building with other landlords. We have open communication, we build trust and stay in regular contact with youth once they're housed and with those landlords. Thanks to these efforts, we've developed strong partnerships with 3 property managers who are now open to renting to youth in our programs. That's okay. So now I am going to share one of a client's success stories. Just to preface, this is a client that has gone through a program. I did not actually write this. This was written from one of our ICM supervisors who did support this client over the last few years. In 2022, a 22-year-old male returned to our Place Peel seeking emergency shelter support. Since the age of 18, he had experienced ongoing housing instability. He was diagnosed with ADHD, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and epilepsy, and had lived experience with substance use and involvement with the criminal justice system. Despite these challenges, he demonstrated a consistent willingness to reconnect with services and, it's this one, sorry. Sorry, it's okay. So despite these challenges, he demonstrated a consistent willingness to reconnect with services and seek support when needed. Throughout his engagement with our Place Peel, he remained connected to multiple service providers, including the complex care coordinators, adult protective service worker, and probation officers. During his time in shelter, he experienced several medical emergencies related to his health conditions and moments of heightened stress that sometimes led to aggressive behavior and temporary service restrictions. These situations heightened his need for trauma-informed supports and continuity of care. In 2023, while under the shelter restriction, our Place Peel's outreach team had maintained contact to ensure continuity of support. The caseworkers used a collaborative, trauma-informed case management approach, coordinating with his ODSP worker, adult protective service worker, and probation officer. Together, they ensured that he remained connected to the Region of Peel's by name list, continued receiving his medication refills from the nurse practitioner, and did not lose access to vital supports. During this period, he experienced frequent changes in staff, both within our Place Peel and amongst other service providers, which he identified as a distressing experience, describing it as people always leaving him. This insight guided the team to focus more on consistency, trust building, and transparent communication. In 2024, he was referred to the Intensive Housing and Case Management Program with access to the Needs-Based Portable Subsidy. Despite facing systemic barriers such as lack of identification, credit history, and stigmas associated with his background, he showed persistence in pursuing housing opportunities. One early housing attempt fell through when documentation deadlines were missed, which was a discouraging experience for him and the team. However, the caseworker and partner agencies continued to advocate for him and rebuilt his confidence in the process. After additional periods of housing instability, including living in street encampments and navigating further justice system involvement, he returned to the shelter following a traumatic accident. At this stage, he experienced emotional fatigue and decreased motivation to continue the housing search. The caseworkers adapted their approach to meet him where he was, offering flexibility and options that reduced overwhelm. When presented with another housing opportunity, he chose to view photos of the unit instead of attending in person, and with support, decided to proceed. He successfully signed a lease and moved into his own unit in December 2024, a significant milestone in his journey towards stability and independence. Throughout his journey, the ICM worked closely with him and his external support network to strengthen his independence living skills and promote self-advocacy by allowing him to make informed decisions regarding his case management and the supports he received. Despite the complexities of his situation, he demonstrated resilience and adaptability and the capacity to re-engage with supports after setback. Today, with the help of the Needs-Based Portable Subsidy and support from our Place Peel, he is living independently and maintaining housing. Thank you. So Grace and I do have our contact information in our presentation, but if anyone has further questions or would like our contact information, we are able to provide you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly and Grace. And last up, we have John and Morgan from Good Shepherd Homes Program. Yeah. 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 Okay, just use the clicker. Okay, thanks.
Just use this. This?
That's awesome.
Okay.
Don't touch the laptop. All right, am I going to need my glasses?
If you want.
No, I'm fine. You ready?
Yep.
You got this. If I pass out right now. Good afternoon, everyone. Morgan and I work for Good Shepherd Nonprofit Homes. We're a large multidisciplinary organization that serves Toronto, Hamilton, and Niagara. More specifically, Morgan and I work with a team under the banner of the Homes Program, which is a supportive housing program largely funded by the Ministry of Health. And we're here to talk to you about something that quietly determines whether housing works or fails: money.
And more specifically, what happens when people don't have equal access to it. Because financial exclusion isn't just an economic issue, it's a housing issue.
Today, we'll share with you how our trustee program started connecting those dots and how we began a simple support service led us to creating something we call the Dignity Card. Hello, Drew.
And don't worry, there's no sales pitch unless you'd like to buy us a coffee later.
Housing First, we have one.
I don't think that's working.
Oh. Okay.
Housing First gets people indoors. It's proven. But keeping people housed requires financial participation. Rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, all depends on access to financial tools.
When people are shut out of banks or credit systems, they're also shut out of stability. They end up relying on what we call the shadow financial system: payday lenders, pawn apps, and rent-to-own stores.
Or as we like to call them in Hamilton, the predators that never sleep.
Fair, though I'll give them this: they have great signage.
They do, but we think dignity makes a better brand.
So quick show of hands, who's used cash in the last couple days?
All right, keep those hands up. I want you to put them down. No, keep them up if cash is your primary source of financial transactions. Now, where are we? For many of our clients, cash still means survival. But as services move online, people without banking or digital literacy get left behind. They can't e-transfer rent, order groceries, or renew IDs.
And so they turn to those payday apps promising instant cash, but the quick loan can cost 500% APR. It's not financial freedom, it's digital entrapment.
Each cycle of borrowing widens the gap. People end up paying interest on last month's dinner.
And that's not poor money management, that's poverty meeting a system that wasn't designed for it.
We watched people lose housing not because they lacked money, but because the rent payment portal required online banking they couldn't set up.
Or their benefits were delayed because they didn't have direct deposit. Small things, but they cascade into late fees, stress, and sometimes eviction.
Folks, I'm preaching to a choir, but we know this. People live right at the margin. One delay can trigger a whole chain of crises.
Some try payday loans just to cover that gap and end up paying twice as much the next month. It's not recklessness, it's survival math. It keeps people stuck.
It reminds us how fragile housing stability can be when the financial system assumes everybody already belongs.
So our trustee program was designed to bridge that gap. It's voluntary support to manage money safely. There's no coercion, there's no judgment.
The beauty of this, it's grounded in harm reduction and recovery. The goal isn't control, it's collaboration, helping people build confidence, consistency, and dignity.
And sometimes protecting them from a toaster that comes with 400% interest rate.
True story, there are ridiculous financial contracts out there for everything and anything. Turns out exploitation doesn't stop at the door of the pawn shop anymore. The Dignity card is a small pilot, a reloadable card, no bank account required. Simple, but it can change everything.
It allows participants to buy groceries online, use debit machines, and manage funds safely, all while avoiding high-fee check cashing stores.
And most importantly, it puts control back where it belongs, in the hands of the person. That's financial inclusion.
We sometimes joke that it's a harm reduction tool disguised as a reloadable Visa card.
And it's a lot easier to carry than a case manager. We gotta laugh.
It didn't come off.
We good?
Yeah.
So here's what we want you to remember.
1, financial exclusion is housing exclusion.
2, digital access and equity is a new frontier of housing first.
And 3, small replicable innovations can make a big difference. You don't need fintech, you just need fairness.
And if you're lucky, you have a great colleague like Morgan.
Thanks.
All right, well, there we go. You did awesome.
So did you.
Oh.
Thank you, everybody, for your presentations, and thank you to everybody in the audience who was patient with us through our technical difficulties. Any questions for the panel? Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Maya. I work for Nelly's Woman Shelter. What you guys do is amazing. I admire the job you do for youth. I have a question, if I'm not mistaken, for Dagmar. No, sorry. The lady who works with the landlords. You. Okay, excellent. So I understood everything you say. The only question I have is, so you pay the full rent to the landlord. The tenant pays $230, for example. You pay the difference. Where do you get the funding for the difference?
Okay, so we provide rental subsidies to the tenants. So we have donors. For instance, we have the region of Peel that provides CAP subsidy to our clients. And we're currently using a rent geared to income program for the youth. So for people with OW or people with OSAP, they have their own contribution, but then we calculate what their subsidy is supposed to be. So that's one. We also have other we also have TD Bank subsidy. That is, for that we give housing allowance. We don't use the rent geared to income for that as well. So we have donors.
Wonderful, thank you. And, sorry, last question for Grace. So you mentioned when people are approved for subsidized housing, they have to withdraw their application from RGI. Is that correct?
Yes. So when they're approved for the needs-based portable subsidy, then they agree to come off the centralized wait list for subsidy. So which it's because it is a subsidy, still 30% of income for the rent. So they're not losing. It's just the same as just a different program.
Any other questions?
So, okay, I may have just missed it. I'm sorry, I'm quite tired. From Vancouver. So you're all welcome to my bedroom. So the subsidies, we do a subsidy program as well. Our subsidies sometimes meet the needs of the differential. Sometimes they don't. And how the rest of that may get made up, we may not have knowledge of. So what was my question? My question is, are your subsidies always in line with ultimately meeting the need of the rent? Or, no, you're shaking your head. No, they're not. Okay, so then you're like us, okay. The other, other question then is, in relation to the program with the, what was it called? When they give the money and then they get the card? The trusteeship. Is there a cultural lens to the program? For example, we work in supporting Black identified individuals and families. When we started the program, rent has to go directly to the service provider, the landlord, the utilities, whatever. This impacts the Black community in historically in a way that can be experienced quite negatively. It's quite linked to past trauma. So in a program such as yours, is there someone taking on the role of cultural stewardship or cultural sensitivity around how that might impact different communities? Yes, you want the financial literacy, but recognizing that there's a history to that type of engagement. That have I said it? I feel like I'm talking in circles now. Did I say the question? Did you get enough? Okay, go ahead.
I think for us, it's a great question, and I appreciate it. And I think for us, in terms of our trusteeship program, it's something that has existed for about 25 years. And in the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a resurgence of need, and we've started to explore how to better serve our diverse communities. So we actually now have a trustee that their focus is working on newcomers, and it's not always money management that is needed. It is sitting down and talking with individuals about what they want with a focus on priority around housing. I think all our trustees work from a person-centered lens in terms of why do they want to join the program. The Dignity Card is largely for folks that don't have access to a financial institution or meet the standards, whether it be barriers around identification, that sort of thing. We take on the responsibility of it's called Know Your Customer, and it's legislated through the bank. As part of us implementing that program, we went through the same security. So we made the barriers lower for individuals to have access to a digital economy. So with this card, they can go to the corner store and tap, right? And access groceries that way. They can do online purchases. We largely had a trustee program that dealt in cash, and cash during COVID, I hate talking about the pandemic, but it taught us a lot. Cash during COVID didn't work for a lot of our folks, regardless of their cultural background and that sort of thing. So I think it's something that Good Shepherd prioritizes, and we do our best, and there's still work to be done, but I hope that answers where we're at.
Thanks, John. Anybody else? Let's go back.
You actually started to answer my question. For the Dignity debit card, you get that through the bank, is that correct? How does that work?
It is a service that we have a contract with a financial management company. I think what started us on this journey, people on Ontario Disability Support Program, they have started issuing these cards, and I'm like, okay, well, if they can do that, can we make it a little more person-centered? And so it was interesting. Banks are stopping this service, so we have an independent, I don't know what, a fintech company, a financial technology company that offers this service. And so we have a contract with them. It's not exactly cheap, and you start learning why banks charge what they charge, justified or unjustified, because we have to take on some of those costs in order to provide this, but we feel it's worth it at this point in time. I think at the same time, for people who are chronically homeless, it's started us looking at, okay, how can we better provide ID and work with people so they can meet the minimum financial requirements to gain a bank account. And I can share with you, if you're interested, the company we work with. Sure.
I was just wondering, for the folks at Rest, when you guys began your landlord relationships and like when you started leasing the apartments for folks and having them underneath you as like the subleaser, what did that look like when you started connecting with the landlords? Like my team and I, we have kind of a list between our homes program and our More Than Four Walls program that has like some idea of what landlords we work with, but it would be wonderful to have kind of like a sit down conference area with them. And I just, yeah, how you guys began that.
So I'm the one that builds the relationships with the landlords. Can you hear me? No? It's not working? Should I just shout? But then I'll... So So you want to know how we start the relationships with the landlords?
Yeah, like what it looked like in the beginning.
I put a guilt trip on them. No, I don't do that. So first of all, I think education is key. Most people, we deal with mostly Black youths, BIPOC youth, right? And as you know, it's very difficult for them to get housing. So from the first approach, it is, we look for landlords that actually want to help in the community to begin with, but also the ones that don't want. I have landlord engagement trainings and meetings. I do outreach and I invite people in. And this is the chance I get to educate the ones that don't want to work because of all the stigmatisms and the discrimination, because from the time that they think young Black youths, they think gangs, they think drugs, they think, everything that's negative. So I get that opportunity to change that narrative and to change that perspective. So it's like putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. So one of the things that also I draw a scenario from is that, in the housing crisis that we had, just as an example, a lot of the landlords actually, a lot of people experienced when the interest rates fluctuated and they got caught and they got trapped right inside of there and they couldn't pay their mortgages. And that was a stress, like a whole stress thing, because a lot of people lost their houses during that period. Some people are able to hold on to it. Some people actually rented rooms in their houses to enable them to pay those mortgages. So that right there is showing that they're experiencing stress because now they can't pay their mortgages. So I'm just drawing a little scenario to you to show one of the perspectives, that how you get them to change their perspectives, how they're thinking. So if you as an adult, a person that's working, a person that has, one or two homes, and you can't pay your rent, you can't pay your mortgage, and the stress that you're going because you're about to lose that if you don't rent it, or you have to get that income, however you get it. You get that income, but some of them actually end up with mental health issues as well. They could relate to something like that because a lot of the landlords experience, as a scenario, they experience that type of stress and that type of distraught. So now if you're thinking, if you're somebody that is gainfully employed, is going through something like that and feeling that way, what do you leave for a 16, 17, or 18-year-old that does not have a job, has no credit history, probably doesn't have a family, and winter is coming and doesn't have a roof over their head? Why would you not rent to them? How weigh that. If you're feeling like that, this could be your child, this could be your daughter, it could be your sister, it could happen to anybody, could be homeless. Homelessness literally has no status. It's just like domestic violence. Abuse doesn't have any status. Same with the homelessness. Anybody could be homeless. You could be on top of the world today and you could be homeless tomorrow. You draw these scenarios. When we're sitting down in landlord engagement trainings, some of these are the things that I would bring forth. We have testimonials. We have youth that could stand up. We have videos and could show that they actually showing where they were and where they transitioned to with the support that they got through REST and REST programs, and the landlords and the community landlords, the landlords that helped them, and to see where their development were. Some of these are the things that change their minds, change their perspectives, and make them start. You literally see that aha moment that they get when they realize that, that this could happen to anybody, but their input, their part that they're actually playing within the community and the impact that it would have by just opening up a door. Also, the fact that we're taking full responsibility for the rent because their rent is guaranteed. The maintenance of their home is guaranteed because within that program, we don't just put a youth in there and leave them. We also we have housing coordinators, we have the case managers, we have mental health support. The housing coordinators do house meetings. They go into the homes. If you're renting us, even if it's the basement of your home, and if the landlord is upstairs, well, we have that basement part. we go in to make sure that they're maintaining that. We have house checks, so their property is maintained. If we have the whole house, which is in the lease model, the head lease model, if we have the whole house, your whole property is maintained. From the time there's an issue, we look after it. If the landlord has an issue, the landlord comes to us. The landlord doesn't get into any conflict with the youth. And the youth, if they have an issue, they come to us. So there's no conflict. Everything is seamless. Why would a landlord not want that? Does that answer part of your question?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, just a round of applause for our presenters today. Thank you, everybody, so much.